Just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
Are you ready to be a part of the conversation that will help shape our nation's future? Get ready to join us for the Left Coast Forum, Saturday, October 25th at LA Trade Tech, where progressive voices will come together to tackle the issues that matter most to working families across Los Angeles and beyond. From economic justice to climate action, from healthcare to housing, we're bringing together the brightest minds and most passionate advocates for real solutions and real change. With workshops, 2 major keynote addresses, and a closing reception with great music and good food. It's the Left Coast Forum, where your voice matters and your ideas take action. Saturday, October 25th at LA Trade Tech. Brought to you by KBLA Talk 1580 and the LA Progressive. The future won't wait, and neither should you. Mark your calendar now to be there and be heard. Stay tuned to KBLA Talk 1580 for more details.
Live from historic Leimert Park in Los Angeles, California, I'm Tavis Smiley, and I'm so glad to see you and me back in stride again. Before we get started with today's show, let me invite you to follow me on Facebook and Instagram at The Real Tavis Smiley, and get updates on X, that's formerly Twitter, at Tavis Smiley. By the way, should you miss any part of today's program or want to catch up on previous shows, you can always visit thetavissmileyshow.com. That's thetavissmileyshow.com, or wherever you get your podcast, and listen to the Tavis Smiley podcast version of this live program at your leisure. Another great show on tap for you today. In our second hour, 2 conversations. It's Thursday, so it's Smiley and West at the top of the hour, so lots to delve into today with Dr. Cornel West on the top side of hour 2. On the B side of hour 2, the founders of Chicago Flips Red, Danielle Carter Walters and Zoe Lay, the beautiful African-American ladies. Remember that term Trump used talking to those press people? The beautiful African-American ladies in Chicago want me to come there. So Trump referenced them the other day in a conversation with reporters. So the questions are, how and why did they come to the attention of Donald Trump? I'll let them explain that to you on the backside of hour 2. In our third hour.
The last time we talked, I said the one thing that you and I have in common is that we both like Black people. and not that everybody doesn't, but a lot of people don't. And it's kind of nice to talk to somebody that just likes Black people and just deals with them with us as honestly and actually as lovingly as we can. And Jimmy did that.
Yes.
And Jimmy was honest, and he loved Black people, but he loved a lot of people. He loved people, but he really did reach out to say, this is the way we're feeling. And that's a wonderful thing. And there's some young writers I know coming up who are saying the same thing. I'm just going to be as honest as I can. I hope that other people like it. If they don't, I understand. And they go on. I think that that's so important, to be yourself. I think that that's so important. And I think that that's what Jimmy has taught all of the young writers, really.
Yeah.
Be yourself.
My dear friend and frequent interlocutor, Nikki Giovanni, made her transition last December. I miss Nikki dearly. The Jimmy, of course, that she was referencing in that conversation was her longtime friend, Jimmy Baldwin, James Baldwin. Nikki's final collection, titled The New Book, Poems, Letters, Blurbs, and Things, will be published posthumously on September the 2nd. The New York Times bestselling author Renee Watson viewed Nikki Giovanni as her artistic and spiritual mother and anchor person in her life. Renee Watson joins us in Hour 3 to celebrate Nikki's final book and a life well lived. But in this first hour, we welcome back to this program retired California Superior Court Judge LaDoris Cordell, author of the book Her Honor, My Life on the Bench, What Works, What's Broken, and How to Change It. Judge Cordell, an honor always to have you on this program. How are you today?
I'm doing fine. I'm doing better because I'm having this conversation with you. I wake up in the morning and I look at the news and it's very upsetting. So it's just good that I'm able to have this conversation.
Well, it's always good for me because you help me with my sanity, just to navigate through all that we're dealing with. I was laughing walking into the studio today, just glancing again at your book, which, as you know, I love and always say I highly recommend it. If you want to hear it, if you want to read a great book, you can still get it. It's called Her Honor. It's a black woman who has a perspective that you should want to download. Once again, the book is called Her Honor, My Life on the Bench, What Works, What's Broken, and How to Change It. I was saying I glanced at your text walking into the studio today. I have it in my office, and that subtitle just jumped out at me. What works, what's broken, and how to change it. that's you see where I'm going here, right? I don't know what works. Everything is broken, and I don't know how to change any of it. So I kind of laughed at myself when I glanced at the cover of your book. All of that said, I don't know where to start because, to your point, you wake up in the morning and there is so much drama every single day. So I think I want to start with this Minneapolis church shooting. I closed yesterday's conversation, yesterday's show, in fact, with this. For those who were listening in the third and final hour yesterday, I hope that was you, and you. I know people, jump in when they can. But we closed. This story broke yesterday while I was on the air. And let me just set this up, and when we come forward, I'll unleash the judge for the rest of the hour. Let me set this up so I can look at my clock right quick here. So I closed the show yesterday with this breaking news about this church shooting, this school shooting at the Annunciation School, Catholic school in Minneapolis. The story was just breaking. We didn't know everything then that we know now, but now we know there were a few people dead, including the shooter, a couple students, 17 plus people injured. So it's just horrific. We see these sort of mass shootings far too often in this country, and I've had all kind of commentary about that down through the years. But I closed the show yesterday by asking these questions. I prefaced it by saying that Donald Trump, as we all know, has been maltreating, disrespecting black mayors in black cities. He did it in L.A. with Karen Bass, where I sit. I was in Chicago last week and sat for a private conversation with Brandon Johnson. Chicago is next on Trump's list. He's already, invaded hostile takeover in the nation's capital in D.C. Again, Chicago's next. He's threatened Baltimore. He's had a war of words with the mayor of Baltimore, a real war of words with the governor of Maryland, Wes Moore. We discussed that yesterday. So Trump has just been, targeting cities, as we all know. It's a revenge campaign, I think, against black voters and those black prosecutors. This is my assessment, that went after him. Only black prosecutors really have been successful. Jack Smith had to stand down, but Fonnie Willis went after him. Letitia James successfully went after him. Alvin Bragg successfully went after him. Think about that. In a country that has so maltreated black people when it comes to issues of justice, it's 3 black prosecutors who've been able to lay a glove, as it were, successfully on Donald Trump. And I think all of us are paying the price for that. I'll digress on that for now. My question is, though, with that setup yesterday was, is Donald Trump going to send the National Guard to Minneapolis? It ain't got a black mayor. It's not on his list. But if your mantra is we need to stop crime, hello, this is the same city where just a few months ago, remember the shooter killed the political assassinations of the political leaders in Minneapolis? And now you got a school shooting, killing precious babies. Is Donald Trump going to send the National Guard to Minneapolis, a city with a white mayor? That's how I closed yesterday. That's how we're going to start today. For the rest of the hour, Judge LaDoris Cordell on Tavis Smiley.
BET BET, and PBS, The Tom Joyner Morning Show, and NPR, the cover of Jet, and the cover of Time. #1 on the New York Times bestsellers list, 20 honorary doctorate degrees, a dozen NAACP Image Awards, a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, a Presidential Lifetime Achievement Award. From talk shows to talk radio, nobody's ever done it better. You like that? This is Tavis Smiley.
Make a move into a home of your own. With City National Bank's Ladder Up Home Loan Grant, you could receive up to $20,000 that you never need to pay back. Use it toward your down payment, save on closing costs, or to buy down your mortgage rate. Find out more at cnb.com/ladderuphome. City National, here for every stage of the journey. Property must be in a qualifying market in California, New York, or New Jersey. Additional terms and conditions apply. Not all applicants will qualify. Terms are subject to change without notice. City National Bank is an equal housing lender. Member FDIC. NMLS number 536994.
Are you ready to be a part of the conversation that will help shape our nation's future? Get ready to join us for the Left Coast Forum, Saturday, October 25th at LA Trade Tech, where progressive voices will come together to tackle the issues that matter most to working families across Los Angeles and beyond. From economic justice to climate action, from healthcare to housing, we're bringing together the brightest minds and most passionate advocates for real solutions and real change. With workshops, 2 major keynote addresses, and a closing reception with great music and good food. It's the Left Coast Forum, where your voice matters and your ideas take action. Saturday, October 25th at LA Trade Tech. Brought to you by KBLA Talk 1580 and the LA Progressive. The future won't wait, and neither should you. Mark your calendar now to be there and be heard. Stay tuned to KBLA Talk 1580 for more details.
You're still glowing, flirting, grooving. You still got it. But your immune system weakens as you age, making it harder to fight flu, pneumococcal pneumonia, RSV, and COVID-19. Vaccines are a key part of any health routine. And
this is the story of the one. As a safety manager at a manufacturing plant, he does everything he can to keep his coworkers safe. From finding ways to reduce risks to keeping safety supplies in stock. And for that, he relies on Grainger. Grainger offers a broad range of quality products and next-day delivery, so he can always play it safe. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Less monologue, more dialogue. Tavis Smiley continues right now.
All right, one last piece of business here, and Judge Cordell will be on the bench with her gavel for the rest of this hour. So you've heard me say many times, you know the old adage that a broken clock is right twice a day. So yesterday, Trey Gowdy, who is a rabid conservative, served in Congress for a long time, now is a Fox News contributor, former prosecutor. I don't need to set this up much more than that. This is one of the country's most noted conservatives. Yesterday on Fox News, and this is before we knew that the shooter was transgender. But just listen to what Trey Gowdy, it's only 1 minute here. Listen to what Trey Gowdy, a conservative, said yesterday. I'm going to link it back to what I said and cut George Cordell loose for the rest of the hour. Take a listen.
In your experience, is the criminal justice system equipped to even handle these? You've seen, I feel like more than anyone has really encountered such tragic cases involving children during your career. And we've talked about the grief and the ripple effect of the parents and in the community. And in your role as prosecutor and as the pieces are taken up by those members of the justice system, what now?
Our system is reactive. Something bad happens, we react to it. And what people are crying for now is, how can we prevent this? How can we stop it? And the only way to stop it is to identify the shooter ahead of time or keep the weapons out of their hands. And so we're going to have a conversation of freedom versus protecting children. I mean, how many school shootings does it take before we're going to have a conversation about keeping firearms out? It's always a young white male, almost always. I mean, did anyone this morning think, I wonder if that was a female? Did any of y'all think that? I mean, there's been one school shooting involving a female.
It was in Tennessee.
One. Yeah, Tennessee. But other than that, it is usually young white males.
But do we not already have.
Now, that's a conservative yesterday on Fox News. So you can't say they don't know. They know. They're talking about it on national television, and Donald Trump only watches Fox News. So if they said it yesterday, Donald Trump is fully aware he ain't stuck on stupid. We know what the problem is. And again, I'm looking at an article right now, and you can find it for yourself. USA Today. Church mass shooting follows rash of gun violence in Minneapolis, rather. Church mass shooting follows rash of gun violence in Minneapolis. Is Donald Trump going to send the National Guard to Minneapolis with its white mayor, given that he's trying to stamp out crime in major American municipalities? I'm done. Judge Cordell, take it. Start wherever you want. I'm going to follow you the rest of the hour.
Well, there was a whole lot there to unpack. Let me just first say about these shootings, the most recent shooting in Minneapolis, where 2 children were murdered, 17 injured, and 6 of those 17 are in critical condition. They are among the nearly 3,000 other children who have been victims of gun violence this year in this country. And so here we go again with thoughts and prayers. I am so tired of hearing that, because thoughts and prayers are a reaction to these horrible mass shootings. And what we need, and I'm in agreement, it's interesting with Trent Gowdy, we need pro-action, not reaction, to stop the madness. No one is talking about getting guns and ammunition off the streets. But I will tell you, if the mass killing of first and second graders at Sandy Hook did not move conservatives in the House and the Senate to be proactive, little else will move them. So we really need to get those fools out of office. So when we get back to this other question now about whether or not Donald Trump is going to occupy Minneapolis with military, first of all, understand Donald Trump doesn't care about crime. He does not care about crime at all. Donald Trump is a racist. He has a fragile ego, which most bullies have, and it is retribution that energizes him. You just outlined, Tavis, all of the black leaders, officials who have taken legal action against Donald Trump and prevailed. He wants retribution. And he also understands he's motivated by only one thing, to appease his MAGA white supremacist base. And they love attacks that he's making on people of color. So given all of that, it is, in my view, unlikely that he is going to order an invasion of Minneapolis unless the MAGA base starts screaming at him. So you can have all the conservatives on Fox News talk about this. What's going to motivate him is his ear to the MAGA base. What is it they want? And finally, the NRA spent $30 million on electing Trump back in 2016. So his campaign joined with the NRA. They purchased television slots, and they lined them up so viewers could see these ads one after another. And all of it, I believe, was illegal, using money that should not have been used in this fashion. So he's got NRA backing. He's not going to do a darn thing to deal with gun violence. And in addition, as I said, he doesn't care about crime. That's not motivating this man.
So, excuse me, if you buy my argument, I made this argument yesterday, I make it again now, Judge Cordell. I'm in front of your bench, and I'm making my argument here. If you buy my argument that Donald Trump, in so many ways, is trying to scare white people and blame black people, as you just said, he has figured out that race resonates with his base. Racism resonates with his base. That's pretty obvious to me. And so all of these moves he's making, targeting black people in a variety of ways, which we ain't got time to unpack, but I'm talking to a bunch of black people, so y'all know what I'm talking about. This is all about scaring white people and blaming black people, making black people the boogeyman. Again, race and racism resonates with his base. We see that clearly. If you buy that argument, and I believe it, then there are two ways to look at it, the Minneapolis thing as I see it, with regard to whether or not he's going to occupy, invade, to quote Judge Cordell, I love those words, that particular city with a white mayor. The way he does it is to go with the transgender route, because attacking, blaming transgender people or the community is in line with his message. Y'all remember that campaign commercial? It was the most vicious commercial of the entire campaign. Kamala had no response for it, and that when that commercial ran, that transgender commercial, I said, it's over. I said, it is over, because I could see how that commercial was playing in California, and we are not a red state. That commercial was just deadly. If you recall the commercial, the transgender commercial that I'm talking about. And again, the Harris campaign couldn't even respond to that. So the way in is to go into under the rules of we got to stop black people, now we got to stop transgender people. That's the way you get into Minneapolis if you want to send the National Guard. But that also, though, because we're talking about a white person, it runs counter to his black crime narrative. And I don't know that his base, to your point, George Cordell, would accept his sending the National Guard into that city, sending the military occupying that city, because we're talking about a white person and not a black person. Again, that's counter narrative to what he's been advancing. I digress. Your turn.
So your point is very well taken. But I think in Trump world, black trumps transgender.
Okay.
And so I really believe that what he wants his MAGA base, he just keeps instilling in them that be afraid because black people are out there and they're going to wreak havoc, be afraid. And in fact, his theme is all about crime, all about crime. And, I hope we get to a discussion about what the mayor of D.C. recently said about his occupying her city, because I'm very upset about that. So I don't know that this is going to be, we're going to go occupy Minneapolis because a transgender person did the shooting. I don't see it. But again, if the MAGA base is that outraged about it, but I think his real handle is using race. Yeah. He's a race baiter. He's done it very successfully. And this isn't new. Willie Horton, right? Back in the day when, you putting his face out there, and that turned an election because there is this fear that can be so easily instilled about people of color and particularly black folks.
Yep. You and I agree, Judge Cordell. I don't think the transgender issue gets him inside of Minneapolis with an occupying force. It's not about crime. It is, in fact, about race. There is no racial element that we are aware of in this particular story, and because there is no racial element, it doesn't, as I suggested earlier, fit the narrative of this out-of-control black crime that Donald Trump's been advancing. So do not look forward. I could be wrong. Judge Cordell could be wrong, but I doubt it. Do not look forward to Donald Trump occupying that particular city, even though there's a rash of gun violence in Minneapolis. And so if crime is the real issue, do in Minneapolis what you've done in L.A., what you've done in D.C., what you're threatening to do in Chicago. I'll stop there. You mentioned D.C. and the comment the mayor made. Let's go there right now, Judge Cordell. Go.
So the mayor of D.C. has said words, and I'll just paraphrase, that crime has really gone down since we've been occupied by these forces that Trump has sent in. And there have been other officials in D.C. who are outraged with her statement. I am outraged with it, and I'll just give you a quick antidote if I can. A black man named Terez Riley was arrested by these occupiers in D.C., and he was charged with unlawful possession of a firearm. He was on his way to Trader Joe's when he was stopped by law enforcement who just searched his bag. No warrant, no probable cause, no nothing. He goes to jail and sits in a jail for 7 days. Then he's brought before a federal magistrate judge who ended up releasing him. But the judge called the search so obviously unconstitutional, I'm quoting the judge, that a high school student would know that it was illegal. And he said further, it's irrelevant that the search turned up a gun when the search itself is unconstitutional. The judge said the police are out looking for everybody. It seems they're looking for people that look like you. He said that to Mr. Riley before releasing him, and said you can't go into a grocery store without getting stopped and illegally searched. So the charge was eventually dismissed, but this is on Mr. Riley's record forever. The 7 days he spent in jail, and nothing can undo any of that. So that's where we start. Yeah. You've got occupying forces who are in there targeting people who are black and brown, and you have a mayor saying, well, crime's gone down since they're in here. Yeah, it's gone down. Why? Because people's rights are being violated left and right.
So we agree on this. This program, this conversation is being heard right now in D.C. on our affiliate station WOL, in Baltimore right now on WOLB. For that, I am grateful. So they're listening to this conversation in the nation's capital right now. And I've been bothered by Muriel Bowser. I basically like Mayor Bowser, and yet she's been sort of politically schizophrenic on this issue. And I want to give her some leeway, given that D.C. is a different kind of city, the whole issue of statehood, the rights that they don't have, taxation without representation. Judge Cordell gets that as much as anybody else listening to this conversation right now. So I understand that she's in a uniquely different position than Karen Bass in L.A. or the mayor in Baltimore or the mayor in Chicago or the mayor in New York, these black mayors. She's in a different position. And yet I didn't like that comment either, that crime has gone down. The point is, as I read it, she's doing an awkward dance with Donald Trump, and she doesn't really know how to do it. And again, she doesn't have the same stature, the same standing as mayors of other cities who do, in fact, have rights, unlike the District of Columbia. That said, it raises a fundamental question for me that I want to give you a chance to unpack when we come forward here in a minute. And that is, how do a people, I raised this question, I think, yesterday or the day before in another conversation, but I want to get to you with this, Judge Cordell. How do a people, I'm talking about black folk now, how do we respond writ large when the president of the United States, the leader of the free world, is blaming black people, as I said earlier, making us the boogeymen, the boogie women? When you're running an anti-black agenda, how do black folk writ large respond to that in this moment? But more to the point, how do black electeds respond to that? Everybody's trying to figure out, Karen Bass, again, all these mayors, Governor Westmore, everybody's trying to figure out how to do this the Blacksonian. You're trying to figure out how to do this dance, this awkward dance with Donald Trump. There's a question, put a pin in that. We'll come to it in just a second. Since you mentioned D.C., here's Donald Trump talking about what he wants to do next in D.C.
Anybody murders something in the Capitol, capital punishment, capital punishment. If somebody kills somebody in the Capitol, Washington, D.C., we're going to be seeking the death penalty. And that's a very strong preventative. And everybody that's heard it agrees with it. I don't know if we're ready for it in this country, but where you have it, it is, we have no choice. So in D.C. and Washington, states are going to have to make their own decision. But if somebody kills somebody, like you could have been killed, very lucky you didn't get killed, it's the death penalty, okay?
Because Donald Trump is wont to repeat himself, he didn't just say capital punishment, capital. He doubled up on that thing, doubled down on it. Capital punishment in D.C. So there's the frame we're in. What do black folk writ large do in this moment when the leader of this country, the president, is making us the target? And how do black electeds do this awkward dance with Donald Trump? Since we critique Muriel Bowser, I want the judge to tell me how she thinks she ought to handle this relationship with Donald Trump. And you heard Donald Trump calling for the death penalty in Washington, D.C., so a great deal more to cover. And I ain't got the other stuff on my list yet. We ain't got to Lisa Cook at the Fed. So much more ground to cover with Judge LaDoris Cordell. Honored to have her right now on Tavis Smiley.
This is getting good.
Yeah, man.
Tavis Smiley continues when we come forward.
I'm Bree Wood with BIN News Now. Black D.C. Mayor Muriel Bowser says federal agents aren't helping, but admits Trump's law enforcement surge has cut crime.
We know that we have had fewer gun crimes, fewer homicides, and we have experienced an extreme reduction in carjackings.
She criticized masked ICE and National Guard troops, saying residents are living in fear. A black couple from Las Vegas has launched Coco Classroom, a black-owned AI-powered homeschooling platform. Michael Roebuck and Regina Snape Roebuck say it helps parents create personalized lessons with no teaching degree required. And a New York judge has dismissed a sexual assault lawsuit against Sean Diddy Combs filed in New York by a California man, ruling the 2015 claim was filed too late. Combs still faces dozens of other cases and awaits sentencing on prostitution charges. Get BIN News Now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Right now, there are young people across the world facing a tough choice. Continue their dream of education or drop out to help their family put food on the table. You can help change their future in a single moment. See how far your support can go at unbound.org.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
At the U.S. Open Wednesday night, Jelena Ostapenko of Latvia learned a very valuable lesson. Do not mess with a sister from Chicago. Taylor Townsend, a 29-year-old African-American, was pretty much an unknown tennis player before beating Ostapenko in straight sets 7-5 and 6-1. When the players shook hands, Ostapenko told Townsend she had no class and no education. Ostapenko claimed Townsend was disrespectful for not apologizing for a point when Townsend's shot bounced off the net. Ostapenko said Townsend violated a rule in tennis by not apologizing. There is no such rule in tennis, even from an etiquette standpoint, where a player has to apologize for scoring a point. Townsend stayed in Ostapenko's face during the heated handshake and let her know she's a strong black woman. Townsend moves on to the third round Friday to play Myra Andreeva of Russia. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
This is KBLA Talk 1580. Talk radio that's music to your ears. We're unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580.
Hello, I'm Joe Cordell, founder of Cordell & Cordell. Divorce is complicated, especially when your small business or professional practice is involved. At Cordell & Cordell, we understand that these assets raise unique valuation and allocation issues. For 35 years, we've helped doctors, lawyers, and small business owners navigate divorce with confidence. Call us at Cordell & Cordell. Let me tell you, I understand on a personal level, your business is much more than a job. It's your legacy.
1455 Frazee, San Diego. CordellCordell.com.
Hey, listen to this. All I needed was a new starter. Got a great deal on eBay. Did it myself.
Yeah, that's cool. But how about the soft purr of an upgraded exhaust when it fits just right?
For me, it's the little things, like these new windshield wipers from eBay I installed.
From small fixes to big upgrades, eBay has all the parts you need at prices you'll love. Guaranteed to fit every time. eBay. Things people love. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
Break out the champagne. Everybody get a glass.
Tavis Smiley is now ranked number 16 nationally and the highest rated talk show hosted by an African American on the 2025 Talkers Heavy 100 list of the most important talk radio hosts in the nation. Last year, Tavis ranked number 33 and the year before, number 45. The Tavis Smiley Show has rapidly expanded its national syndication to now include nearly 50 radio stations across the country and counting. Congratulations, Tavis.
Yay! Paid for by government.com. Did you know? The United States Mint has issued a new Morgan silver dollar coin in proof condition for the first time. Not only that, they are also minted in 99.9% pure silver for the first time ever in history. Coin experts are calling this an amazing opportunity for anyone that knows the enduring popularity of Morgans. But you must hurry. Only 400,000 of these legal tender silver dollars were issued. These first ever Morgan silver dollars are brand new with stunning mirror-like finish, minted by the iconic San Francisco Mint. Call now and you're guaranteed a new first ever 99.9% pure silver proof Morgan dollar. To learn more, call 1-800-973-9717. If you order now, you will receive a free coin collector bonus pack, a $25 value, free with every order. Call 1-800-973-9717 now to secure your new Morgan silver dollars before they are gone. That's 1-800-973-9717.
You gotta dip your chicken strips. Hey, this is Kiani.
And this is Tabitha.
And a little thing we love about Chick-fil-A chicken strips
is all the different sauces we can dip them in. I like to line up all my favorite sauces so that in every bite, I have a different flavor. Then with the tenderness of the chicken, the juiciness of it, it's all there.
And for me, I like to mix my sauces so I get a little tang and I get a little sweetness all in one bite.
That's what makes it for me. Like, that's what does it for me.
That's what I'm saying.
It's the summer of Chick-fil-A chicken strips and sauces. Order now on the Chick-fil-A app. Real guests paid for their testimonials.
More honesty than you can handle. More empowerment than you can imagine. You're tuned in to Tavis Smiley.
Tavis Smiley and Judge LaDoris Cordell, retired Superior Court judge and author of the book, Her Honor, My Life on the Bench, What Works, What's Broken, and How to Change It. All right, Judge Cordell, I'll throw a couple questions out there. Let me start with the first issue that I raised, which is, you know, when the President of the United States in 2025, no less, repeats the same kind of historical narrative we've endured far too long, making black people the enemy, making black people the target. How do we respond writ large, and what say you then, given our critique of Muriel Bowser as mayor of District of Columbia, what say you then more expressly about how black leaders do this awkward dance with Donald Trump?
Well, let me just start off by saying that I earlier said that Trump doesn't care about crime, but let me support that just very quickly. If Donald Trump were serious about reducing crime, he would restore community violence intervention grants. He would maintain consent decrees that are driving needed police reforms. He would support common sense gun safety laws that even gun owners support. And he would look to economic inequality that's at the root of so much crime and disorder. He's not done any of that. That's why he is not serious. So with regard to black elected officials, first, let me make it clear. I was an elected official, although locally twice. One elected to the bench, and then I was elected to city council here in Palo Alto, California. So, and back to Mayor Bowser in D.C., I understand that the D.C. mayor is walking a fine line because D.C. is a different animal than is Chicago or Baltimore or Los Angeles. And I imagine that when she said, yes, with these occupation, crime has gone down, she did it to appease Trump. She got to say something, I guess, to stroke that fragile ego of his. That being said, and she did come back and say that that other kinds of, I guess, law enforcement there was not warranted. But my overall point is this. Black elected officials, but this is not new territory for black elected officials. We are always under intense scrutiny, always have been, and always face an uphill battle even after being elected. We are constantly scrutinized and attacked. So if you run for office and you get elected, you are our leaders. And I say to them, lead. We need leadership now more than ever. So and leadership means being smart. It also means keeping one's eye on the prize. Where do you want your city or your state? Where do you want them to be? How do you want your people to be treated? We're the leaders. So in my view, putting your head in the sand and, we have this crazy man in the White House, so I've really got to watch it. I appreciate that federal funding comes to many of these cities, but, we have to make a choice at some point. And this man is clearly white supremacist, racist, and is not going to do a damn thing to help particularly cities that are populated mostly by people of color and also cities that are led by people of color.
I mentioned this yesterday, and I mentioned it again in conversation now with Judge LaDoris Cordell, because there's a different piece of this, given that she's a retired jurist, a different piece of this I want to get her to opine on right quick here. So Jesse Jackson Jr., almost 20 years in Congress, and as I said earlier in the week, if he decides to run again, he may be back in Congress. The seat that he held for almost 20 years is vacant, and all the polling that I've seen in Chicago suggests that if he decides to run for Congress again, he will be a formidable candidate, and indeed the leading candidate, and so he could be back in Congress again. Why he'd want to do that right now, I do not know, but it's another conversation for a different time. So, but Jesse was on this program. He's my talk radio colleague right now these days, and he was on Monday, and we had just a deep conversation that Jesse's this is his lane. He studies these things, and so we talked Judge Cordell on Monday, Jesse Jackson Jr. About the fact that come 2032 there could be no African Americans in Congress. We have the highest number of black folk in Congress right now. The CBC sits at 62 members, the highest ever. But there was a moment in history, and I'm going to do this very quickly. In the post-Reconstruction period, we had 16 black folk in Congress. And you looked up a couple years later, and they were all gone. They were all gone. We went from 16 to 0. Jesse suggests that we could literally in 2032 go from 62 to 0 if a couple things happen. If Democrats don't find a spine, if they don't decide to really care about black futures, and this redistricting process gets worse than it already is. Never mind what Gavin's doing here in California, Gavin Newsom, that is. The redistricting process is the first point, and you combine that with a U.S. Supreme Court that continues or essentially finally wipes out the Voting Rights Act, which I expect is going to happen in the next term. When they make that decision and redistricting gets screwed up, you could literally look up and for the second time in history see every black member of Congress wiped out of their seats. They're just not there anymore. Why did I raise that with Judge Cordell? You figured it out, because it is that voting rights piece that I am expecting, sadly, regrettably, the Supreme Court in the next term to completely gut, and then we're in trouble. George Cordell, I yield to you.
History is our greatest teacher, and it is so important that your listeners know history. And as you correctly pointed out, post-Reconstruction, after the Civil War, and then black folks were allowed to vote, run for office. We had folks sitting in Congress. And then they disappeared. Why? Because of blatant voter suppression. Mm-hmm. Black folks were lynched, hung, run out of town, threatened, killed in order to get rid of us. Voter suppression is nothing new. So it's back again in the 21st century. Thanks in part to what I call the 6 supreme disappointments. Those are the 6 conservatives on the Supreme Court who are set on basically destroying, getting rid of the Voting Rights Act. So you've hit it on that. Really, it is voting that is going to change everything, or keep us here and keeping us having a voice in government. Voting. And Trump is doing everything in his power to suppress the votes of not just black folks, brown folks, poor people, anyone who might vote leaning Democratic. And it's blatant what he's doing. Yeah. So, and that's to me the most frustrating, where the lower courts are doing the right thing, federal courts even, they're making the right rulings, and then it gets up to the supreme disappointments, and here we go. And I don't get it. I don't get how they sleep at night. I don't get how they think about what this country is going to look like down the road. I don't get it, but shame on them all. Yeah. I do hope, by the way, I can just mention quickly about Trump's effort on the death penalty. We can do that at some point.
Sure. I promise. Hold that thought. I promise I'll get to it. I would add to the list that Jesse Jackson Jr. laid out on Monday. He raised this as well, as I recall. You all saw Donald Trump suggest the other day he wants to end vote by mail. So I add that to the list that Judge Cordell is just offering right now. But there's so many examples of the way in which they are not just suppressing votes, but indeed trying to deny black people the vote. And again, if Jesse Jr. is right and history is any arbiter of the way things can happen in the future, we went from 16 to 0 post-Reconstruction. We could go from 62 to 0 again if Democrats don't do the right thing. Another conversation for another time. If you missed that conversation on Monday with Jesse just breaking down brilliantly and eloquently how that could happen, check out the podcast of that particular conversation. When we come forward, I will let Judge Cordell, as she just asked, talk about Trump and calling for the death penalty. I'll let her opine on that. And, of course, we'll talk about Lisa Cook. Trump, again, targeting black people in any way he can, including, retribution against us for what these black prosecutors have done. He's gone after a number of black women, Letitia James, Fonnie Willis, the list is long. Lisa Cook is the sister. It is crosshairs at the moment. Say nothing of Muriel Bowser and Karen Bass, all these black women he's gone after. It is now Lisa Cook, but she ain't having it. She is suing Donald Trump over this dismissal, putting that in air quotes, because her argument is you ain't got the authority to fire me. I don't work for you. And so the lawsuit now is underway. We'll let Judge Cordell talk about that as well when we come forward on Tavis Smiley.
Generous listening. Charitable listening. It's why everybody wants to talk to Tavis. The conversation continues when we come forward.
We ask seniors how to prevent Medicare scams.
My best advice, if you get a phone call, do not talk to the person. These people are well trained. Don't talk to them.
They don't know me. They're just trying to Scam me.
Don't be fooled. Hang up.
Just hang up.
Never give out your Medicare number.
They're going to get your number to put in a false claim.
If I get a call from someone, I don't pick up the phone, and should I pick up the phone and they ask for information, then I hang up.
How do you detect Medicare fraud?
Just like I check my credit card statements, I check my Medicare statements monthly.
Scammers can get a hold of your number, order medical devices through your account, and you're not even going to know about it if you don't look at your statement.
Check your statement every month.
If you get your statement and you see something that you know you did not have done, you report it.
Call your senior Medicare Patrol.
To report Medicare fraud, call the Senior Medicare Patrol at 855-613-7080.
Hello, I'm Joe Cordell, founder of Cordell & Cordell. Divorce is complicated, especially when your small business or professional practice is involved. At Cordell & Cordell, we understand that these assets raise unique valuation and allocation issues. For 35 years, we've helped doctors, lawyers, and small business owners navigate divorce with confidence. Call us at Cordell & Cordell. Let me tell you, I understand on a personal level, your business is much more than a job. It's your legacy.
1455 Frazee, San Diego. CordellCordell.com.
Hey, listen to this. All I needed was a new starter. Got a great deal on eBay. Did it myself.
Yeah, that's cool. But how about the soft purr of an upgraded exhaust when it fits just right?
For me, it's the little things, like these new windshield wipers from eBay I installed.
From small fixes to big upgrades, eBay has all the parts you need at prices you'll love. Guaranteed to fit every time. eBay. Things people love. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
Hey, it's Matt, your leaf filter trusted pro. Gutters are an often neglected part of the home. They're also one of the most important. Clogged, overflowing gutters can cause serious problems like foundation damage or basement flooding, which can cost thousands of dollars to fix. Let's face it, cleaning gutters yourself is not only a hassle, it can be dangerous. But when you get Leaf Filter, you'll never have to worry about cleaning clogged gutters again. Get started today by visiting leaffilter.com/deal to schedule your free inspection. If you decide to move forward, we'll professionally clean, realign, and seal your gutters before installing our patented stainless steel micro mesh system. Leaf Filter keeps out everything but the water. And it's backed by a lifetime transferable no clogs warranty. So you're protected for good. We're in your neighborhood and ready to help. Visit Leaf Filter today for a free inspection and estimate, and you could save up to 30%. Visit leaffilter.com/deal. That's leaffilter.com/deal.
Helping to make you the most knowledgeable person in your circle of friends. This is Tavis Smiley.
Tavis Smiley and Judge LaDoris Cordell, retired Superior Court judge, author of the book Her Honor, My Life on the Bench, What Works, What's Broken, and How to Change It. Your thoughts, Judge Cordell, on that clip I played earlier of Donald Trump talking about the death penalty in the District of Columbia?
Well, the death penalty is not preventative. It does not deter crime. That's the first thing. If it did, then we wouldn't have any crime. So finally, the Supreme Court, U.S. Supreme Court, ruled that mandatory death sentences were unconstitutional nearly half a century ago. So how is Donald Trump going to carry out that directive of his? He can't. It's all talk.
No naivete here, but how have you read since January of this year when he came back, all of the things that he has said and done that he really doesn't have the authority? He can say it, doesn't have the authority to do it, but that hasn't stopped him from saying it. And we'll pivot to Lisa Cook, given what I just said, in a moment, because she's a part of that same frame. This issue, rather, is a part of that frame. But just talking about how have you processed this particular president saying stuff all the time that he's going to do that he really doesn't have the power or the authority to do?
And actually, he has issued executive orders, which are just pieces of paper. They have no lawful backup at all. And he issues these orders that are blatantly wrong, unconstitutional, and has actually implemented some because it takes time for these orders to go into the courts and to be overturned. He knows this. This is his playbook. Do things that are unconstitutional, illegal, and he'll stop after he's told you can't do it eventually. That's the playbook that he uses, and it's very effective because that's what his MAGA base wants. He's doing exactly their bidding. And that really gets us to what he's done now with the Federal Reserve. So he has basically said to Lisa Cook, who is on the board of the Federal Reserve Bank, that she's fired. Well, he can't do that. And why do I say that? First of all, the Supreme Court has already allowed Donald Trump to remove Democrats from other agencies, like independent ones like the National Labor Relations Board. But the 6 Supreme disappointments carved out an exception, a new legal standard for the Federal Reserve Bank. Okay? And they basically said that he cannot use his unchecked power to fire people from the bank. He can do it from other agencies like the NLRB. Why would they do this? My guess is they don't want their stock portfolios to take a hit. That's my guess. All right. So to get around this carve-out, Trump has a housing official named William Pulte, Pulte, and he has had him combing the fine print on lending documents as a pretext to harass government officials that he doesn't like, and using mortgage fraud accusations. Now, what's so ironic about this is Donald Trump is the only one who actually conclusively lied to lenders about real estate value. He was convicted of this.
That's right.
All right. So now he's moved on. He tried the mortgage fraud crusade against Tish James, the New York AG. That didn't go anywhere. So now he's moved on to Lisa Cook. So in his letter purporting to fire her, he claims that the bare allegation of mortgage fraud, he's the one that's making this, allows him to fire her for cause. Now, this allegation is that she listed a property as her primary residence that might not have ended up being her primary residence. All right. Now, that only deals with that one issue. It does not deal with her ability or competence to perform her job. Plus, we don't even get to this point because she's not been indicted. Yeah. She's not been convicted of anything at all. So as you noted, she has lawyered up. And if Trump wants to remove her, he'll need the Supreme Court to now go along with his crazy theory that he can do this when the court has basically said, you know, Trump, we don't want you messing with the Federal Reserve Bank because that's really messing with the economy and our stocks. So in my view, I don't think it's going to go far, and I believe in this instance Lisa Cook will prevail.
When we come forward in our remaining moments, I want to interrogate that a bit more, because while the Supreme Court, as Judge Cordell laid out eloquently and brilliantly, has in fact already sort of preemptively, opined on this, every time that Donald Trump has been in trouble, and the judge said this earlier about this, she was right. The lower courts have done the right thing in a lot of instances, but every time he's been in trouble, the Supreme Court has come to his rescue. So I'm not so sure that I'm going with what they said before versus what they may say now, because, again, they keep rescuing Donald Trump every time. You're listening to Judge LaDoris Cordell on Tavis Smiley.
Why does Tavis say, when we come forward? Because he's not going back. And you don't have to go back either. Forward ever, backward never. More of Tavis Smiley when we come forward. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. If you need help getting your resume in order, finding job training, or landing a job, we've got 3 great options for you. First, the City of Los Angeles has WorkSource centers across the area offering free job support. The California Workforce Development Board can help you with everything from GED prep to vocational training at no cost to you. On the federal level, the Department of Labor's American Job Centers offer a full range of services for job seekers and businesses alike. Visit CareerOneStop.org, or for more info, just call California's Help Center or visit cwdb.ca.gov or call 916-657-1440. For the City of Los Angeles programs, go to ewdd.lacity.gov or call 213-744-7300. All these services are free to help you get your next job. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
If you're like me, 60 and retired, making ends meet, especially here at the supermarket and drugstore, is tough. I'm so blessed to have found BenefitsCheckup.org. It's a free and confidential website from the National Council on Aging that connected me to $1,200 a year in programs that help pay for food, medicine, utilities, and more. Maybe it can help you. BenefitsCheckup.org.
You know where you want to go in life, and City National Bank can help. City National knows the dedication it takes to build your vision for the future into a reality, and our team is here for you. We have a wide range of options to help, from personal savings accounts to interest-bearing money market savings accounts and more, all designed to help you get where you want to go. City National, here for every stage of the journey. Learn more at cnb.com. City National Bank is a subsidiary of Royal Bank of Canada, member FDIC.
This is Secret Clinical dominating extra stinky stress sweat. And this is regular deodorant. Secret Clinical in a heat wave. Oh, what a beautiful day. This is regular deodorant. Ugh, I can't. Secret Clinical with workout sweat. Let's run another marathon. And regular deodorant. How much more? Secret is the GOAT, because nothing fights sweat better. Stay fresher under pressure.
Made fresh daily in the Mert Park, Los Angeles, California. You're listening to Tavis Smiley.
Tavis Smiley and Judge LaDoris Cordellis for the next 2.5 minutes, which is all the time I have left in this hour. I always enjoy talking to Judge Cordell. So you laid out brilliantly, as I said earlier, and eloquently, the backstory on Lisa Cook, and it would appear that she does have a winning hand in this argument. But every time I think that somebody has a winning hand, the Supreme Court comes in and rescues Donald Trump, Judge Cordell.
You know, this is different, this meaning the Federal Reserve Bank issue, because it is my view that the economy drives politics in America. Mm-hmm. And if there are decisions the court makes that somehow turns the economy in such a fashion that the elite don't get the money they expect to get, like in stock returns or in crypto, the court generally backs down. It doesn't go there. And I think that's why this one is particularly different. When you're messing with the Federal Reserve and Trump wants to take it over, then it becomes an economy driven by just one person. And that's very, very dangerous for those who have huge investments in the economy. What people want is, the elite particularly want, is an economy that's stable and steady, that guarantees them all the money they're making. But if you have an economy controlled by one person who is nutso, who is not smart, who doesn't really get it, then the economy and their pocketbooks are in big trouble. So that's why I believe in instances regarding the economy, you're going to find the court backing off. I think they will back off and not support Trump when he tries this crazy stuff.
Well, the irony is, the point you just made is on point, but the irony is that that's what this is all about. Trump wants that fourth vote on the Fed. And if he can get rid of Lisa Cook, if he can get rid of Ms. Cook and put his person there, then he'll have the 4 votes he needs to basically run policy at the Fed. So Judge Cordell may very well be right about this. She tends to be right most of the time, most all the time. The Supreme Court may not rescue him on this one, but again, that's what this really is all about, in case you're wondering. He needs a 4th vote on the Fed to do what he wants to do. He's been hating on Jerome Powell, the chairman, publicly for a long time, but that's what it's all about. It's about Trump controlling the economy the way he wants to control it, or at least thinks he can, by having a 4th vote on the Fed, and that's why he went after Lisa Cook, the first and only black woman to be so honored to serve on the Fed. Judge LaDoris Cordell, as I said a few times, always thrilled to be in conversation with you, one of my favorite guests. Her book is called Her Honor, My Life on the Bench, What Works, What's Broken, and How to Change It. We'll do it again, Judge Cordell, somewhere down the road, but thank you for your time today.
Thank you so much for inviting me, Tavis.
Always welcome on this program, Judge Cordell. When we come forward at the top of the second hour, we'll see what Cornel West thinks about some of this and more. You're listening to Tavis Smiley.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Bree Wood with BIN News Now. Black D.C. Mayor Muriel Bowser says federal agents aren't helping, but admits Trump's law enforcement surge has cut crime.
We know that we have had fewer gun crimes, fewer homicides, and we have experienced an extreme reduction in carjackings.
She criticized masked ICE and National Guard troops, saying residents are living in fear. A black couple from Las Vegas has launched Coco Classroom, a black-owned AI-powered homeschooling platform. Michael Roebuck and Regina Snape Roebuck say it helps parents create personalized lessons with no teaching degree required. And a New York judge has dismissed a sexual assault lawsuit against Sean Diddy Combs filed in New York by a California man, ruling the 2015 claim was filed too late. Combs still faces dozens of other cases and awaits sentencing on prostitution charges. Get BIN News Now, on demand, 24/7, on the iHeartRadio app.
Right now, there are young people across the world facing a tough choice. Continue their dream of education or drop out to help their family put food on the table. You can help change their future in a single moment. See how far your support can go at unbound.org.
Is this the tackle? This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
At the U.S. Open Wednesday night, Jelena Ostapenko of Latvia learned a very valuable lesson. Do not mess with a sister from Chicago. Taylor Townsend, a 29-year-old African-American, was pretty much an unknown tennis player before beating Ostapenko in straight sets 7-5 and 6-1. When the players shook hands, Ostapenko told Townsend she had no class and no education. Ostapenko claimed Townsend was disrespectful for not apologizing for a point when Townsend's shot bounced off the net. Ostapenko said Townsend violated a rule in tennis by not apologizing. There is no such rule in tennis, even from an etiquette standpoint, where a player has to apologize for scoring a point. Townsend stayed in Ostapenko's face during the heated handshake and let her know she's a strong black woman. Townsend moves on to the third round Friday to play Myra Andreeva of Russia. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
Are you ready to be a part of the conversation that will help shape our nation's future? Get ready to join us for the Left Coast Forum, Saturday, October 25th at LA Trade Tech, where progressive voices will come together to tackle the issues that matter most to working families across Los Angeles and beyond. From economic justice to climate action, from healthcare to housing, we're bringing together the brightest minds and most passionate advocates for real solutions and real change. With workshops, 2 major keynote addresses, and a closing reception with great music and good food. It's the Left Coast Forum, where your voice matters and your ideas take action. Saturday, October 25th at LA Trade Tech. Brought to you by KBLA Talk 1580 and the LA Progressive. The future won't wait, and neither should you. Mark your calendar now to be there and be heard. Stay tuned to KBLA Talk 1580 for more details.